Hi everyone, Derek from Shred the Veil on Conscious Vitality, and I just wanted to quickly share this message, a post that I put on social media back in March 21st of 2020, so about a year and a half ago, and of course we know that's when everything kind of went south down this path we're on, so I'll just get right to it. It says, I will try to get my point across quickly and how it ties into what is going on right now with all of the information we are bombarded with every day. Disclaimer, please, by all means, follow state and federal recommendations, regulations of social distancing. This message is in no way meant to undermine the seriousness of our current situation. It's obvious to everyone that we are undoubtedly living in the most fearful and confusing of times right now. My message is not to perpetuate this fear and confusion, but to acknowledge it exists and has been steadily increasing for many years. What is clear is that as citizens of the U.S. and inhabitants of this planet, we have an obligation, more so than ever before, to be informed on what is going on around us, and that means we should be responsible and level-headed enough to consider the various sources of information available to us in order to make rational and sensible decisions. I learned this a long time ago because of my grandfather, Daniel M. Salter, and his claim of personal accounts and access to highly classified information during his military career as Chief Master Sergeant in the U.S. Air Force. He was one of about 25 selected volunteered witnesses at the National Press Club hearing in Washington, D.C. This was from the disclosure project of about 400 and some odd witnesses. This public hearing was in May of 2001. I butchered that, but anyway, he claimed of having a secret clearance of 38 levels above top secret, and he came out with a book called Life with the Cosmos. Fill in the blank, I'm not here to promote anything. If you do a quick search, you'll find about a 40-minute video of him that surfaced in 2018, and I think the information he had to share seems more relevant now than it did those 20 some odd years ago. He passed away in 2007. It took me over 20 years to determine if his message was anywhere close to the truth. His story seemed like the Forrest Gump of insider intelligence, military intelligence, so I left it up to the reader to go research it. Right now, there are far more unbelievable stories being disclosed that I think we will eventually have to come to terms with. I do know his health was beginning to fail at the same time you started sharing the story publicly. So there are plenty of his statements where some of the known facts or terms are not 100% accurate, which can lead many skeptics and debunkers to dismiss his testimony altogether. I went through stacks of books that I inherited from his collection, and I have added to over the years. See the bookshelf. I showed a picture of the bookshelf, and hopefully you've seen that as well. What's funny is the more I read and researched online, the more that I found the similarities in corroborating evidence from multiple insiders from the most unexpected places. The books range from advanced science, theoretical physics, to purely spiritual and religious, with all paranormal, sci-fi, and New Age mysticism in between. Long story short, or parentheses too late, it was a very interesting journey that led to my understanding now, and it was unbelievable how each book led me to the next, showing me all the connections I needed to see in order to reach this point in my life. Synchronicity is a real thing, and it only gets stronger the more you realize it exists. For instance, there were a couple of books of his I would never have read 20 years ago that I just finished reading this year, and it is amazing how they have painted a much clearer picture for me now, to where everything has come full circle. There is much more to my story, but everyone has their own story that is just as important. And then a little parentheses. I shared parentheses. My grandfather also said that what some would call soft disclosure has been happening for decades now, revealed through many movies, TV shows, and books, and that is the easiest way for officials to deny or dismiss witnesses and whistleblowers coming forward with all of this, because they can simply say that their information came from some fictional movie or TV show. So why does this matter? Because we will never understand what the hell is going on if we simply follow one narrative or one source of information and on any particular subject, or if we simply become complacent and ignorant and do not take the time to look for the answers ourselves. And nowadays we must use our BS meter more than ever. But that doesn't mean you have to discredit or dismiss certain information based purely on the source that it comes from. It means we have to use our own intuition and discernment. Focus on the content of the message rather than the messenger. Notice when the source is telling you, don't just take their word for it, but to go find out for your own answers. That usually means they're not just feeding you a bunch of BS. They want you to do your own research, be critical thinkers, so on and so on. And be most skeptical to anyone or any organization that says that they have all the answers and that you should only listen to them. I wonder who says that. That is a huge red flag and something we see happening far too often. And this was all before this crazy censorship that we're seeing right now. To summarize, I think this is the most exciting time to be alive, and this decade will show the most innovative and revolutionary changes any of us could ever imagine. And yes, change can be scary, uncomfortable, and unpredictable, but we must trust each other and stand together if we want to get through this, no matter what happens. There has been a battle for information going on for decades now, and the truth that we seek is not going to come from one country or religion or science or race or political party. It is going to come from all of us. The truth can only come out when we first go within and ask the right questions. Like my grandfather said in an interview once, you better wake up and start getting interested in changing your life for the better, quote unquote. I think that he meant each of us has a responsibility to do this, to be the change we are looking for. Even the smallest percentage of us doing this collectively will have a significant impact on the rest of the world, and this has already been proven. Any religious teaching or scientific principle is only as strong as the consciousness that created it. We can no longer afford to act like children playing in the sandbox, fighting with weapons of mass destruction over nonsense. If we want a seat at the big kids' table, quote unquote, we really do have to wake up. We owe this to our own children. We owe this to our children, every single child on this planet, and those yet to come. They deserve to grow up in a peaceful world that promises a bright and abundant future for everyone. Our future depends on it, and our children deserve it. And then a couple of quotes I finished with. What if I told you your beliefs don't make you a free thinker? The ability to change your beliefs based on new information does. And then also, we cannot survive any longer by hanging on to the falsehoods of the past. Reality must be discerned at all costs if we are to be a part of the future. Truth must prevail in all instances, no matter who it hurts or who it helps, if we are to continue to live upon this planet. I'll just leave it at that. Thanks for listening, and I hope you got something out of that. Again, my message was back in March 21st of 2020, and I think it still speaks volumes to what's happening. So I hope there's more of us out there that are on the right path and journey to finding the truth. And we hope to see you more on Shred the Veil with Conscious Vitality. Again, this is Derek. See you next time.